What's going on? Brian Tong here, and welcome to the Apple Bits for everything good and bad inside the world of Apple. Let's get to the show, and you know what it is. The iPad reviews are in. I just skim over the headlines. I don't watch anyone's videos because honestly, I'm waiting for my iPad Pro to come in, you know, the one I actually paid for with my own money before I review it. And no, I'm not taking any shots at any of the other reviewers who do a great job, but I just feel like when you invest your own money and you evaluate it that way, it kind of comes together a little differently. Now, the general consensus is that it's a great iPad with a whole lot of power, but it still won't replace a laptop for many people. And if that sounds familiar, it's because we've heard the same thing for 3 years in a row now, and until Apple offers some sort of hybrid OS that allows it to do more, they can keep telling us all they want that this is a computer, and you know, they are right, it is, but it still won't replace what a laptop or desktop does. And you know how much I love the iPad Pro. It's my travel buddy, and I know its limitations, but I'll be posting my review right here on this channel once I spend, you know, a little more quality time with it. But let's talk about the power this third-gen iPad Pro is packing. A recent Geekbench benchmark test revealed the 2018 iPad Pro is almost twice as fast as last year's. Now, you can check out the comparison here with its single-core score of 5,025 compared to last year's 3,913. But the biggest difference is in multi-core score performance that reaches 18,106 compared to 9,327 from last year. And that's just a ridiculous jump in just a year, so much that it's pretty much comparable to this year's MacBook Pros, which have similar single-core scores, with the iPad Pro roughly 3,000 points less when it comes to multi-core performance. Like I said, this thing is a beast. But I've also been saying this since day one, and here we are again 3 years later, and again I'm still saying it, iOS is still what's holding the iPad Pro from reaching its full potential. And I still love it, but look back at all the old reviews. You can pretty much plug them in for this year's model, and nothing has significantly changed from back then outside of the design, which is pretty amazing, and also some welcome iOS tweaks. But we wait for Photoshop, and we'll also hopefully see more Pro apps arrive sometime in 2019. All right, the iPad Pro isn't the only thing that's seen early benchmarks. We know the new MacBook Air is using a lower-powered dual-core Intel CPU, and no surprise, the results show some pretty moderate speed gains over last year's MacBook Air. This isn't a machine that's going to do a lot of heavy lifting work, but outside of the physical design upgrade and a Retina display, you're seeing about a 27% performance increase for both single-core and multi-core score performance. And that's just not that significant, especially after what we just saw from the iPad Pro, and it's just another sign, right, that we're getting closer to seeing Apple processors inside their own computers in the next couple of years. And an initial Mac Mini benchmark score also dropped for the 3.2 gigahertz 6-core model with 32 gigs of RAM. It delivered a single-core score of 5,512 and a multi-core score of 23,516, which puts it on par with the high-end 2.9 gigahertz 2018 MacBook Pro. And yes, I know so many of you are still bummed about no new AirPods because you let me hear about it, or you know, you're on the fence to buy them because you don't want to be surprised by new ones coming. Well, maybe y'all should hold on to your butts. A new report from My Smart Price found new AirPods listings for model numbers A2031 and A2032 that were added to the Bluetooth Special Interest Group's regulatory database on November the 1st, which could point to a refresh version coming in the near future, and the model numbers correspond to a new left side and a new right side. Wait, left's my right, your left, my wait, yeah, something like that, right? Now, the Apple hardware version number is listed as Rev 1.1 compared to Rev 1.0, that stands for the original AirPods, and we really don't know if they're coming or not, but the first AirPods were added to the database on November 20th, 2016, and launched on December 13th that same year. So maybe we could see the same thing, I don't know, with the AirPods and, oh my gosh, the AirPower Matte making it by the end of the year.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
Like this much, maybe? Okay, we'll see. Now, in Apple Watch news, watchOS 5.1.1 has been released to fix the problems from 5.1 that was taken down for bricking some people's Apple Watches. Now, it brings group FaceTime support to the watch in an audio capacity, support for the more than 70 new emojis, plus a new full screen color watch face option alongside of some bug fixes. But even bigger and better news for Apple Watch owners, I'm hyped about this one. Spotify is officially coming to the Apple Watch. This makes me so warm and fuzzy inside, ugh. Now, some users have been able to get the early beta access version of the watchOS app. There's no time frame for a public release just yet, but currently offline downloads are not supported, and the app hasn't been optimized for the new 40mm and 44mm screen sizes for the Series 4. But again, this is just a beta, and you know what? Good on you, Spotify, for answering my prayers. That's a good Apple.
Yeah.
And if you want to look down the road even more, according to a Fast Company report, Apple will launch its first 5G phone in 2020, according to their unnamed source. The report says they're planning to use Intel's 8161 modem chip in the 2020 iPhone lineup, which really means, end of 2020, with Intel set to be the sole provider of its 5G chips. Now, if you don't know this, Apple has had an ongoing legal dispute with Qualcomm behind the scenes and hasn't made any plans to work with them for 5G. We're also expecting to see the 5G switched on sometime in 2019 by carriers here in the US, with many Android devices being the first to support the new network in 2019 using Qualcomm chips, and then delivering speeds that are 10 to 20 times faster than an average 4G connection. Apple trailed adopting 3G and LTE with previous iPhones when competition wasn't nearly as fierce, so 5G Apple iPhone. We'll see ya in 2020. Way after everyone else. All right, you know the drill. If you like this video and the others I'm putting out, thumbs up, subs up, and hit that notification bell, ding, so I can buzz in your pants when I drop a new video, like the new iPad Pro review is coming up. And if you want to dive deeper inside of Apple, you can check out my weekly Apple Bits XL audio podcast to keep you company on those long, lonely drives. And you can also help support the podcast, my independent journey, and all of my video content at patreon.com/Brian Tong. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Brian Tong. Take care, be safe, and we'll see you next time. Later, alligator.